Good afternoon, everyone. I've heard a few people concerned about how to do the online survey, and they've had trouble actually doing the online survey that TMR have organised. I'll leave a link in the description to this website. This is actually the Transport and Main Roads website that has the information on the Coomera connector. See, it's also got, if you find it completely impossible to do the survey, you can send an email to them, which is the Coomera connector at tmr.queensland.gov.au. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to go through and show you how to do the online survey. So at the top of the page, you come down here and it's got a link here for online survey. You click on that and then it brings you to here. So it says, get involved and have your say. From the 8th of November to the 8th of December 2019, you're invited to have your say on the planning for the Coomera connector, and you have to register here. And then you can find out more about the Coomera connector. On stage 1 is here, and stage 2 is here. Then you've got the integrated transport network, protecting our environment section, and the consultation timetable, which I've got other videos that I've gone through the consultation timetable, so I'll leave a link to that. But we're running out of time for the actual consultation where you can actually talk to TMR. There is one coming up tomorrow in Eagleby. So yeah, anyway, back to here. So you can come in here to find out more about stage 1 of the Coomera connector. And it gives you information here. Blah, 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 blah. And then you've got to complete the survey. So you've got to sign in or register to be able to take the survey. Now, I haven't taken a survey on the one down south yet. I have taken the one up north for stage 2, which is this one. So you click on that. And so this is the Logan Home to Coomera section. It goes through information here and then provide feedback, stage 2, Logan Home to Coomera. And then it gives you information. So I'll go through and register. I've got a different email address I can register with, so I can show you how to actually go through it. So please tell us a little bit about yourself. So put my name, my age. You don't really want to know my age, do you? Not that it's a huge, big federal secret or anything, and I'm not ashamed of my age at all. Suburb I'm in is Eagleby. You obviously put your suburb in, and it comes up from the list. And then you put your email address, username, and then you type in a password. I'll be back once I've done that. Okay, so you type your password in, and you type your password in a second time. Make sure your password has 8 to 16 characters, and it must contain a combination of numbers and letters with at least one lowercase letter and one uppercase letter. So it's really important to make sure you do that, otherwise it just won't work. So if you'd like to receive email updates, you can click yes or no on that. That's entirely up to you. Click agree and register. I generally tend to save the passwords because I forget. My password's too long. Must be a maximum of 16 characters with at least one number. I just finished telling you guys that, didn't I? Oh dear. I will come up with a new password. I'll be back in a second. Okay, now I've got a new password. Let's try that again. So we'll just update that password. Hopefully this one works. I didn't actually count it. So it's going to send you an email to ask you to activate your account. So I'll organise that. Okay, so I actually had to do that on another device because I have challenges with it when I've got the screen capture going. So then you can go to sign in. You sign in. Let's get involved. You're already registered. So go to stage 2 or stage 1, whichever one you're wanting to have your say on. And it comes up saying you've been successfully logged in. Then you come down here and you provide feedback. So it's got a survey that you can start. So provide your feedback here. So this is just where you can write generic stuff of whatever you're wanting to say to them. Then you can upload any supporting documents and add any additional attachments. So you just click on that, choose a file, and find it on your computer. The file size must be smaller than 200 megabytes. If for some reason your file's larger than that, I suggest storing it in your Google Drive or your Hotmail OneDrive, or Outlook OneDrive, sorry, and leave the link in the feedback section. That would be fine. And then you just click submit. Now, I'm not going to do that because I still need to be able to do this. And you can only do this once. So make sure you prepare yourself before you do it. So that's stage 2. Stage 1, we'll go back and have a look at the other one. So stage 1, I actually haven't looked at this one yet. So this is talking about the traffic population. What will the Coomera Connector look like? So it's going to be a high-speed, up to 6-lane motorway-style road with elevated interchanges, a ground-level lower-speed road that would be connected to existing traffic network using intersections with traffic signals. So yeah, there's some interesting information for you there. So you start on the survey. So the Transport and Main Roads values the community's input and welcomes your feedback on the planning of the Coomera Connector. Provide your feedback to stage 1 of the Coomera Connector by completing the survey. All survey questions are voluntary and you do not need to provide the response to any questions that are not relevant to you. Your responses will help TMR understand what is important to you in the planning of the Coomera Connector and future transport infrastructure. So this is where you've got a whole heap of questions to answer. So travel to work and study locations. Number 1, how do I usually travel to work or study locations? So you've got your options here: car by myself, car with at least one other person, train or tram, bus, active transport, for example, walking or cycling, or other travel options, for example, taxi, Uber, community transport. Next question. So you can only select one of these. So, yeah. Anyway, so how long does it usually take you to travel to and from work or study location? So less than 15 minutes, more than 35 minutes. You can read those and select whichever one it is that's your issue. When do you usually travel to and from work and study location? So this is the time of day that you travel. So you can select multiple options here. So you'll be ticking when you go to work and when you come home from work, and if you go anywhere during lunchtime as well. So then you've got what suburbs do you most often travel to and for work or study. So you can type in there. So this is the main suburb that you do most of your travel to and from work. Sorry, I have noisy children in the background. They're playing with bubbles. I should have waited until they had a nap. It's all good. Okay, so the next question: how often are you delayed by traffic congestion on the way to and from work or study location? Now, I'm guessing most of you it's daily. So then you can click Save and Continue. So my main travel location is Eagleby. I don't go very far. I really don't. And I homeschool, so I'm home with the kids. Yeah. I do most of my travel between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. I avoid the traffic like the plague. So that would be my 2 main times that 15 to 30 minutes. I've always got the kids in the car or my mum, so... Actually, no, my main travel suburb is probably actually Bean Lane. Bit of a homebody, really. How often do I usually travel on the M1? Oh, at least 1 to 4 times a week. At least. When do you usually travel on the M1? Monday to Friday. Where do you most often travel when you're using the M1? No specific destination. Probably Springwood, actually. So how often are you delayed by traffic congestion? Maybe monthly? I don't get delayed very often. I'm not in the same boat as the rest of South East Queensland. Transport and Main Roads is considering different forms of transport infrastructure that could be built within the Coomera Connector corridor to address growing traffic population projections. Which of the following options would you prefer? A high-speed, up to 6-lane motorway-style road with elevated interchanges, a ground-level lower-speed road that would connect to existing traffic network using the intersection with traffic signals. Honestly, probably the high speed, but that's me from the Gold Coast perspective. From stage 1, that's probably the most useful. Because from my perspective, if I was going to Nerang from Coomera, which I do occasionally, I just don't do it during work hours, a high speed would, I like the freeway. But that's me personally. So which proposed potential connection points for the Coomera connection would you use most often? Select up to 5. Oh. Or definitely use Smith Street. Sometimes use Southport. I do Helens Vale. Stapleton Jacobsville Road. Mount Cotton Beenleigh Road, definitely. Definitely don't like this one. This one is a bad one. We do not want an exit on Fryer Road, Eagleby. I'll leave a link to a video that I did showing how this one in Fryer Road is going to cause so many problems. And if a connection is put there, it's going to require a lot of resumption, in my opinion, of properties along Fryer Road, because that road is not designed to be an exit off a motorway in any way, shape or form. It's going to go past 2 schools, 3 retirement villages, no, 2 retirement villages, 3 childcare centres. It's just nuts. Actually, I probably don't use that as often. Yeah, no, that's probably it. That's me. But then you have to go through and actually select these 2. This is actually really important. And they've got an issue here with their coding. So proposed connection, all land required to accommodate proposed connection point has been allowed for in the current gazetted corridor. Potential connections, additional potential privately owned land would be required to accommodate for the potential connection points. So yeah, anyway. So how often are you likely to use the Coomera Connector Stage 1 Coomera to Nerang? Probably less than once a week. Where would you most likely travel when you're using the Coomera Connector Stage 1? Shopping, I guess. I don't know. Oh, where would I most likely travel? Oh, I didn't answer that properly, did I? I don't know. How often are you likely to use the Coomera Connector Stage Loganholme to Coomera? Less than once a week. Where would you most likely travel when using the Coomera Connector Stage 2 Loganholme to Coomera? Now, this is really interesting. What I would like to know is why these questions were not in the Stage 2 information section. Why are they only in Stage 1? So where would you most likely travel when using the Coomera Connection Stage 2 Loganholme to Coomera? Probably Loganholme. Think about the planning for the Coomera Connector. Rank the following factors on what you consider the most important and least important. Okay, so this is going to be a personal thing for each person to go through and do. Provision of shared pedestrian cycle paths. So this... I'm guessing that number 1 would be your most important part. So connection points for the Coomera Connector to other major roads, conservation of the environment, reduced travel time, readiness for new technology such as automated vehicles, accessibility to public transport. That's probably going to be my number 1. Actually, no, it's not. I'm going to go with number 1 because I really want the Eagleby wetlands preserved, but that's me. Reduced travel time is important. I mean, what's the point if you don't reduce travel time? Provision for shared pedestrian and cycle paths. It's actually not a good idea to walk or cycle next to main roads just as a bit of trivia there. Now I know why they're asking this, because they want to know how important it is to actually connect to the Logan motorway and going through the Eagleby wetlands. Do you support the Coomera Connector as a transport solution? You can pick whatever you like on this. This is going to be a personal preference, and obviously this entire survey is a personal preference. I'm going to type in my answer to this. Okay, so do you have any other comments or suggestions for how the Coomera Connector project would be improved? More public consultation. And less hasty actions. Spelled that wrong, didn't I? And making sure residents that are affected know what support and compensation is available to them if the road goes through. So by that I mean, I know that there have been some communities where they've actually been funded for double glazed windows to help decrease air pollution, and, or not air pollution, but sound pollution at least. So yeah, I think we should at least ask the question. If they're going to destroy our environment, we should at least get some benefit from it. Anyway, so you've then got an opportunity to upload a file again and additional attachments. So yeah, then you go through and you hit submit. It says, thank you for your time in completing the survey. We value the information you've provided. Your responses will contribute to the planning of the Coomera Connector. Many thanks, the Coomera Connector project team. So yes, there's this video. I'll leave a link to this one in the... Oh, you can see this when you do the survey. But yeah, anyway. So they're only up to the community consultation phase here. The reference and design and business case hasn't been completed yet, and a detailed design hasn't been done yet either. And obviously construction hasn't started. And then you've got the document library that shows you the information on different things. So yes, anyway, I hope you found that helpful and useful. This is how to do this online survey. And I just found a section that I didn't know about. And I'm a little bit upset about the fact that the information in stage 2 didn't have anything saying that there was a more in-depth survey in stage 1. So make sure you do the stage 1 survey. Anyway, have a great day. Any comments, questions, or suggestions? Leave them below. Bless you.